Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about how to buy a car in the UAE. Now there is really nothing called how to buy a car, but there is really things you need to consider when you're buying a car, especially here. Not because there's anything bad over here, it's just the weather is terrible. And you know, some cars like American cars and GCC cars or European cars, which we'll get to talk about that in complete detail, because personally, I've never seen a video that says what's the difference between GCC specs or American specs. So I bought an American spec car, knowing the consequences, of course, but I really never found out or knew the difference until later on. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about the things you really need to consider and the things you really need to do. And as usual, comment down below if there's anything specific you'd like to see. And I'm sorry for the hair. Alright guys, so first thing you need to do is obviously go on the website, whatever website you prefer to use. I prefer to use Dubizzle, I don't know why. And no, I'm not paid by obviously I have 22 subscribers, so we're not going to get into that. But anyways, you need to get on the website, look for the car you want. Now, I cannot tell you what car is good for you, what car is bad for you, but there is kind of a category for you know, us teenagers or kind of the youngsters of the car world. There's kind of, you know, a small little box for us that has certain cars that are nice to be used because maybe they're reliable, they've got somewhat good power, so that kind of thing. But you know, you could be looking for something else. So I'm just gonna make this as general as possible. First of all, you need to look at the mileage of that car, okay? Before the year, before the paint, how good the paint is, or before how great the engine is, or before does the guy service the car or not, look at the mileage of the car. Now, this is a very important thing, because some people, and I've seen this personally, okay? I've experienced this with people that I know. Bro, look at this. It's that car, and it's 50,000 dirhams, where the original price is somewhere, let's say, around 80,000 dirhams. So where's that where did these 20,000 dirhams go, right? There's a 20,000 gap. Where is it? You know, what happened there? What happened is 200,000 kilometers more than all these other cars. So high mileage is not usually, like, it's not necessarily a bad thing, to keep it fair. It's not, you know, it doesn't have to lead to being a bad thing. But to be honest with you, high mileage is no good for a teenager. Like, I've always said this, and I've always thought like this, and I will die thinking this, that a teenager should never drive a car that has over 60,000 kilometers. Not because we're bad people, but because we're bad drivers. That's why we don't know how to drive. Some of us say we know how to drive, but you know, you swerving between cars, that's not knowing how to drive. So you don't know how to drive if you think this is how driving is, if you do that. I mean, don't get it wrong, okay? I do that too. But that's not the right way to drive. We floor our cars, we're going to this, we're doing that. We're driving for like 3, 4, 5 hours a day, doing absolutely nothing. So that, you know, low mileage is kind of a necessity when it comes to people like us. Now, if you're the kind of guy who's gonna buy the car and drive it once a week, which I really doubt, then yeah, go for high mileage. You know, it would make sense. But other than that, really don't waste your time and look at a car that has high mileage, even if you're gonna have to skip this great car for a car that's way worse, but still you're getting lower mileage, which is always really important. Okay, so now we've looked at your mileage. You need to start looking at the year of the car. Again, kind of the same concept as mileage. So, you know, you don't want to go for a car that's very old. I'm trying not to say it's your first car, but it's, you know, you're buying a car. You know, it's not like, I can't go out and be like, oh, I want a phone, I'm gonna go buy a Nokia because it's very cheap. Yes, it's very cheap, but it's very old as well. So there is none of the features you'd probably be kind of imagining you'd have. You won't probably see as much cruise control. You won't see all the digital stuff, the touch screens of the infotainment systems and all these things. Obviously, depending on the car, but if your budget is low, then there's definitely none of these technologies that you see nowadays that you're getting for a cheap price. So look for the year of the car. Look for something between 2015 and 2018, or yeah, let's be nice, 2013 and 2018 is kind of the perfect place for you to like roam around, you know? Don't go 2012, 2011, 2010 and go all the way down. Terrible, trust me, terrible cars, and it's all from experience. I'm not saying that because I don't want you to drive a nice car that's old because it'll be nice. No, it's not gonna be nice. It's not gonna be a nice experience for you. Third thing you need to do, and it's not as important as the other two, so focus on the other two. But when it comes to this one, speaking to the owner of the car, right? Now, again, let's just put it in this scenario. I'm buying a car from you, you're the guy, so how I'd want to approach you is very important. Hi, is the car good? Obviously, he's gonna say it's good. Hi, can you do something about the price? Just don't say this stuff, come on, talk to the guy first. No one cares about doing anything about the price because no one cares about that now, right? You need to know the guy. You need to get to know the guy. Yes, like as if you're gonna date him, yeah? You need to know the guy. You need to know as much information about him as you possibly can. How old is he? What does he do? Like, why are you selling the car? How is it with you? What kind of problems have you faced with it? What do you like about the car and what do you not like about the car? Even though you know the car perfectly inside out. My car, I knew my car inside out before I bought it. I was watching a lot of stuff about it. I knew every single little piece of detail about it. And also I was looking for a car for a few months before that. So I kind of test drove so many of them, and I've seen so many of them, and I've been in so many of them. But I kind of acted like I didn't really know. So I asked the guy, oh, what's good about this car and what's bad about the car? So you need to kind of, play these tricks, even if you're going to look stupid. It doesn't matter, but you're getting as much information as you can. So take this stuff, store it in, and go home and think about it. If the guy seems like he's the kind of guy he has a big ego and he's talking like, all this stuff matters. Trust me, if he does that, just look for another car, because this guy probably used the car for show all over the place and he was just driving it like an absolute maniac. So look for someone else. Just look for someone else. Okay, so now you've found your car. You like the mileage, you like the way the guy talks, you like everything. Next step is very important now, yeah? You need to start focusing now, because that's when the action is going to start to happen. What you need to do is go to the owner. Now you guys are kind of friends because you've spoken so much and you've asked him so much questions. The guy feels like he knows you well, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to go up to the guy, be like, all right, you know what? I have this really cool garage. Do you mind if we take the car, just check it out over there? If he says, okay, this guy's a good guy, you've scored yourself a good car and a good owner, so things from here are really going to be simple for you. Now, if the guy says no, that's the guy that flips cars for a living. Flipping cars for a living is just buying a car, fixing it up a little and selling it up for a higher value. On the way to the garage, we take it to the garage. You tell the guys at the garage, look, I'll give you guys 50 dirhams each. Make sure you freaking I need a full history of the car. And they can do everything, right? These guys are so smart. But the thing is, if you don't pay them, they're not going to do anything. So make sure you kind of, it's not bribing them, but you kind of flash some cash, as they say. So, they can start knowing that, this guy's a real deal. We should, kind of show every single detail. They'll take the car for a couple of hours. They'll lift it up. They'll look under, inside out. They'll do everything. And then you'll have a report. Now you'll see everything done in the car, right? The car looks good. The report looks fine. You'll go to RTA, and then from there, they'll just do the stuff kind of that you almost just did, but they'll do it in a different way, because they're looking for anything that's dangerous or illegal or this or that. So they're looking for that stuff. And meanwhile, you're talking with the owner, right? Now you're telling the owner, look, I checked the car at my place. They said it's okay. We're going to check it here at RTA, and they're probably going to end up passing it, or blah, blah, blah. What you're going to need to tell the guy is, I need you to do your absolute best for me, because, I really, really like the car, and I really like you as a person, and it was such a pleasure dealing with you and stuff. So I really, really want this to go good for the both of us. So you kind of give me a fair deal, and I'll give you a fair deal back. So we're kind of both happy. I know it might be harder for you. Now let's pause this conversation. If you are buying a car at this time right now, you can use the excuse of, oh, look, how things are going right now. No one's really buying cars. Please help me out here. I'm trying to get this. This is my dream car. So kind of, if he's a real owner, he's probably gonna end up feeling bad. So make sure you do that. Best case scenario, the guy says, okay, you know what? This much, and this is exactly how much you wanted to pay. Most of the time it'll be 1,000 or 2, give or take. above what you wanted to pay. But really, you know, it's a lot better because if you don't negotiate in a nice way, but what you did is you took him out, you wasted his time, you know, you made him talk to you, you guys spoke to each other. So you kind of have a bit of an advantage over these other guys because you kind of built a relationship with the seller. So you kind of, you know, you talk to him, oh, you know, and so on and so forth, and then the guy gives you the good price, and then you take your car and you pay for it and you go home. And that's how you buy a car. Alright guys, so let's quickly move on to the American specs and the GCC specs. I don't want to bore you guys out because I talk so much, I know. But okay, GCC specs, American specs, which one is better? GCC specs. Why GCC specs? Because it is made for where you live, my guy. It has the options you need to be able to survive here. But what I'm trying to say is, this is made for this and this is made for that. Don't bring that into this and don't put this into that, you know, like it just doesn't fit right. Now you can drive an American car. As I said before, I do have an American car and I drive it like an absolute idiot. I've crashed it like twice, okay? And it wasn't even my fault. But what I'm trying to say is, they do live, okay, but don't expect the car to live forever. Not like a GCC car. So kind of, you know where you're putting your expectations. Make sure you're not, you know, setting the bar way too high, and you're gonna have to take it a little bit easier on American cars. And you know, this is kind of, you know, the kind of thing that you don't get to see the difference. You don't really see a difference between GCC or American cars. They both kind of look the same, and only little details like the mirror frames. In my case, for my car, the mirror frames are different. GCC is more round, the American specs is more squared and kind of sharper. I did hear some rumors that American
Mustang EcoBoost. I did hear some rumors that the Mustang EcoBoost. What a retard. Anyways, we all know that we all know the Mustang EcoBoost. No, we all know. What? anyways, I'm wasting so much time.
But Mustang EcoBoosts are stronger as American specs than GCC specs, which is kind of a weird thing. But there is no proof, evidence, or kind of any kind of fact that says that this statement is true. It could be, it could be not, but really there is no difference. But when you come inside, like you know, the whole build of the car is different in American specs. So you're getting the radiator is smaller. Yes, radiators are usually smaller in American spec cars, and really when you think about it, all the American spec cars that you see around here are usually muscle cars. There's obviously American spec everything. There's like American spec
M class. What is wrong with me?
There's American specs from each class of cars, you know, if that makes sense. So should you stick to GCC specs? In my opinion, yes. But if you found a nice American car that hasn't been crashed or drowned or beat up by some American dude who thought he can drift and he just ended up hitting a crowd and destroying his airbags and his engine, and some dealer went over there and bought the car, came here and fixed it, and now sold it to a guy, and this guy is selling it to you, then go for it. American cars aren't all that bad. My car was crashed, and I do admit, and I do know, and I do believe, the guy told me at first, before I even saw the car, he told me it was crashed. Here's the chassis number or VIN number, check it out. You know, when you search up the VIN number that you're given, a picture is on Google will appear, and then you'll see what the car looked like when it was crashed. In my case, mine wasn't all that bad. It was just the bumper and the hood. They were destroyed. So it was that bad. They were destroyed, so we had to take them out, remove them. I didn't do any of that. The previous owner did. Alright guys, a little friendly reminder. This is what all American spec muscle cars look like before they come here. So if that kind of scared you, well, this is what they really look like. Most of them have the same kind of accidents, and most of them kind of look the same. So this is what you should expect to see.
You took it out, removed it, changed it all, and just made the car look new. I guess he did that.
But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope I did help. And if you have any questions, please do ask in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and the main channel. If there's any kind of content you'd like to see other than a question with an answer, if you'd like us to do something maybe to the car, maybe to anything, I don't know, you just let me know. That's all you gotta do. You let me know, I get it done. Done. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Good night.